Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air, striking their target. The new images coming in, the 10th military strike on a suspected drug boat in the Caribbean. At least 6 people killed. And tonight, President Trump now sending an aircraft carrier strike group to the waters off Central and South America. We'll go live to Martha Raddatz. Tonight, day 24 of the government shutdown. Hundreds of thousands of workers now going without their paychecks. Congress is still getting paid. President Trump cutting off trade talks with Canada over an ad featuring former President Ronald Reagan. And the new inflation report tonight showing inflation here in this country climbing at its fastest rate since January. Beef prices, for one, soaring. Tropical storm Melissa gaining strength in the Atlantic. A hurricane by tomorrow, expected to be a major Category 4 by Sunday. The new models just in tonight, the potential track of this storm. The alarming scene outside a Coast Guard base. Police opening fire during a protest, a U-Haul truck backing up into the gate. It comes after jarring images showing a minister hit in the face by a flashbang. A National Guard plane coming down across a highway, hitting power lines and crashing. A Delta passenger jet forced to abort takeoff, flames shooting from the right engine. The system-wide outage canceling hundreds of flights, travelers stranded for hours. What Alaska Airlines is now saying tonight. New York Attorney General Letitia James pleading not guilty tonight, accusing the Justice Department of being, quote, used as a tool of revenge. Here in New York City, the heated race for mayor, one day after Andrew Cuomo laughed after a radio host said Zohran Mamdani would cheer if there was another 9/11. Tonight, Mamdani, before the cameras, responding. His personal and at times emotional message for voters here. Tonight in Boston, there's been a deadly crane collapse. At least 2 people have been killed. This evening, the recall, the popular wipes, now being recalled because of a possible risk of serious infection. And tonight, you'll see it, the extraordinary rescue. The mom who jumped in to help save nearly 24 children. Just moments later, the bus engulfed in flames. Her bravery, our person of the week.
That's crazy. All right, I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will, edifying to the Lord's elect. And as you can see, man, just more war in Venezuela. Okay, I did see something about how Colombia is going to have something's going on with Colombia now. I think he put sanctions on Colombia, but that's how it starts before he decides to go and do what he got to do. Okay. Let me see what the news says. But I thought I saw an article. Trump administration to send warship to Latin American waters. He's been sending things over there. Let's see what this is.
Hours after Secretary Pete Hegseth posted new video showing the latest strike on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean. At least 6 people killed. The boat was off of Venezuela. It's the 3rd such attack this week, the 10th since the operation began last month. Now the U.S. military is sending the USS Gerald Ford carrier group to the region, thousands of U.S. troops on board. ABC's Martha Raddatz leading us off tonight.
So you already see what's going on down in Venezuela. See what else is going on. Trump ends trade talks. With who?
Soaring. Economists say the tariffs are partly the...
No, that's something else. I want to get to the inflation. See what he says about this inflation. I just do. Lucky. I don't know what's going on here.
Trump posting accusing Canada of trying to illegally influence the United States Supreme Court, which is set to hear arguments in 2 weeks on whether the president's sweeping tariffs are constitutional. Canada's Prime Minister sounding resigned.
We can't control the trade policy of the United States.
Trump's tariffs are now beginning to affect the prices we pay for everything from furniture to clothes to groceries. Trump's tariffs are now beginning to affect the price.
$5.99 for a half a gallon of milk. $6.99. I need to start looking at the price. I never heard of this Cloverland bullcrap. It's gonna be much higher than that. That's still affordable. That's just $2.99, $5.99. That's still affordable. It's gonna be at a point where it's gonna be astronomical, man. I wouldn't be surprised if a gallon of milk goes for like $30.
Says we pay for everything from furniture to clothes to groceries. A new government report shows inflation is picking up, prices increasing 3% from last year. The typical American household is now spending an extra $208 per month. Trina Duda, a mother of a second grader, says she's feeling it.
This gallon of milk is $2 more than it was.
Like a month ago. Yeah.
At the grocery store, tariffs are hitting imported foods. Coffee prices surging 41% in the past year. Lettuce up 21%. Sirloin steak up 20%.
How much did you pay for your groceries today?
$55.
More or less than last month?
Maybe 5 or 10% more.
That's a pretty big difference.
Yeah. I'm not happy with it.
It comes as the government shutdown drags into day 24 with no end in sight. Today, more than 500,000 workers miss their first full paycheck. Many of them employees at the People will miss their first full paycheck next week. At this food bank in Alexandria, Virginia, a furloughed worker at the Department of Defense telling us that she feels like a pawn in the game.
This distribution is happening every Friday as long as the government shutdown happens.
Furious that lawmakers are getting their paychecks, but she's not.
They need to go without a paycheck. They need to get low on food so they can understand what we're dealing with. It's not fair. It's just not fair.
David, again, this is day 24 of the government shutdown, and right now Republicans and Democrats don't even seem to be...
People have no clue about what's about to come to pass, man. It's like everything's like everyone's always caught off guard when things go wrong, man. Like they think this place is gonna last forever, but yet they feel like the Lord is dealing with everybody. Okay, He's not, man. I mean, it don't matter how many precepts we bring out, but we're gonna bring them out anyways. I'll go over them. Daniel 2. Daniel 2 and 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. Let's see what this word kingdom means.
Strong's H 4437, Malku.
Malku. Okay, of royal power, dominion, reign. I just went into the root word, and it says a realm. Okay, just like it says in Second Esdras. One realm against another. Of course, they don't put that. One realm against another. Second Esdras 13, verse 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Okay, so that's talking about these kingdoms. When Yahushua come, he's representing the kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of Yahweh. Ultimately, it's the kingdom of Yahweh, but he's giving it to his son. So he's fighting on behalf of Israel, and the Lord's sending him over to bring forth that destruction. But a lot of people think that the food and everything's these are signs that you should be looking for, so you know when the Lord's gonna return. You shouldn't be caught off guard why these things are happening in the world like a non-believer, like the heathen are. Tells you in Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, I believe. Jeremiah 10:1, hear ye the word of the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So these different signs in heaven, you should be paying attention to them. Okay, like, Dabu's going into 3-eye Atlas. These different signs that NASA's seeing, they're becoming more frequent. All right? So this is what we should be paying attention to. But the majority of you don't have eyes to see or ears to hear. So you're not going to be aware of why these things are happening. Second Esdras 9 verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So these signs or these tokens, okay, this is what we're measuring through prophecy diligently, constantly watching to see, how close and how the Lord is gonna, bring these things to pass. If you worried about your SNAP benefits and things like that, of course people are gonna be worried about these things, but the true believers in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, he told you that he was gonna break your staff of bread, like he said in Ezekiel the 5th chapter. Okay, these are signs before the destruction of Babylon. So these are the same signs that Ezekiel was prophesying about, before the oncoming Babylonians. And Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. So it's the same thing now, that if we see that he's breaking the staff of bread, we know Jacob's trouble's coming. Okay, we saw previews of it in these other times the Lord sent his wrath through the heathen nations, but now he's going to send it through Esau. Okay, and the way he's going to attack Jerusalem is through your bread, through your water, through your kids, through whatever he got to do in order for you to make the wrong decision. That's why you're supposed to be getting built up in this faith. Second Esdras 9 verse 3, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So he's always told us this is what he was going to do. And he set up the apostles and elders to teach and give the proper understanding of the scriptures. So now that we have it, we're supposed to hold on to it and not be tossed to and fro like the rest of this world. We're supposed to hold on to it and allow it to comfort us in this time. Even though, of course, these things are going to be, hard, but we got to trust in the Lord. Okay, that he'll create a way for us to escape these tribulations. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, meaning it's evident that the end is near, especially with the government being shut down. This is a perfect time for a black swan event for it to increase past those 35 days or whatever can happen in this time. It seems like the perfect time for anything wrong to just get worse. Like, this is the time, man. Out of all the things that are going on in the world, they can't even agree on if you deserve to get Medicaid and things like that. He tells you that he's going to destroy the council. Let me see, let me put council. It's Isaiah 40 something. Isaiah 44, I'm thinking. Let's see. Isaiah 44, let's go to Isaiah 44, verse 26. It says, I'll start at 44 and 21. Redeemer, remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant, I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Israel, thou shalt not be forgotten of me. So that's talking about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. Okay, so he's the one who blotted out your transgressions and your sins. Ultimately, it's the elect of Israel who's going to be saved on this time. Okay, so blessed is he whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are pardoned. According to Psalms 32. And I think 1 and 2. Psalm of David, Michelle, blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord imputeth not iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no guile. Okay, and that's talking about the elect of Israel. Their transgressions are forgiven. Okay, and that's 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. And the remnant, their families, and whoever the Lord has mercy on, that are not of the 144,000. These, Revelation 14:4, these are they which were not defiled with women, which are talking about these different doctrines and philosophies, for they are virgins, meaning they're pure, they're undefiled with these philosophies. Ultimately, they when they heard about this doctrine, they accepted it. Okay, these are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. It tells you in John 10, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. So these are just his sheep coming back to them like they would do. They belong to the Lord. So then they're not going to be defiled with these other, Christianity. They're going to come out of whatever doctrine they believe before they learn the truth. Okay. John chapter 10, verse 27. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. So there's nothing you could do to the elect ultimately, because he's going to be protecting them. Salakia. I don't know what's going on with my internet. I'm connected again. All right. So whatever he got to do to get you the victory, he gonna do it. All right, Jeremiah. So when you watch the news, you want to compare it with prophecy, man. See how it pertains to what the Lord is doing. I mean, yeah, cranes are falling on people in Boston. That's judgment from the Lord, man. Every single day, he's judging people, man. This ain't the time to just be thinking everything's sweet, man. It's about to get worse out here. And you hope that the Lord is dealing with you, man. Every time you want to be putting up prayers, giving thanks. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know thy thoughts, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Ultimately, that's salvation. Okay, salvation, which is the expected end. That's what we're looking for. All right. Luke 1, verse 68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. Okay, let's look at this word redeemed. When you redeem something, you know how when you go to the liquor store, you get a can and you go redeem it for that 5 cents. Okay, they charge you the 5 cents initially, and then you just go redeem the 5 cents. So ultimately, they already took your money. You're just getting it back. Redeem means having been saved, paid for, or bought back, often by making amends for past wrongs or by fulfilling an obligation. Okay, so he's going to redeem the nation of Israel, meaning to take us back into pretty much save us, and have raised up an horn of salvation for us. Horn means power, and that's talking about Yahweh Shai in the house of his servant David, because he came through the loins of David, as he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Okay, and when you read Psalms, the 83rd chapter, it talks about your enemies. Okay, ultimately, it's every nation played a part in one form or fashion with being complacent with your destruction. Okay, now the majority of heathen, they don't know what the hell's going on, but the elites do, and the Lord remembers this. Okay, and he's going to judge them for it, even though you might not think that they care, but it was this is the biggest conspiracy, is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's the biggest conspiracy in the whole world, is how you are the children of Israel. Walking, just been discontinued from your heritage, and all these nations are like confederate against you. It's like, it blows my mind. But that's just how the Lord did it. But he's going to be the same one to redeem us out of the situation that he put us in. Book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 72, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant. You read Exodus, the 24th chapter, he made a covenant with Israel after the Exodus of Egypt. And he said everything he said we will do. Okay. Let me grab it. It's like you constantly got to be reminded about the covenant. This isn't disannulled. People affirm their covenant with God. That's the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. And he said unto Moses, Exodus 24:1, come up unto the Lord Yahweh, thou and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord hath said we will do. So we agreed to a covenant. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning and builded an altar under the hill and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord Yahweh. So he made these 12 pillars for the 12 tribes of Israel, indicating that this covenant was only between the nation of Israel and the Most High God through Moses. This covenant wasn't made with the whole world. Okay? So with that being said, you're the one who is being held to that covenant. That's why you're dealing with the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. All right. Even though some of these other nations are dealing with some of these curses too, because of Deuteronomy 30:7, all these curses shall fall upon our enemies. All right. There's a precept. I'm thinking of Hebrews. I can't think of what chapter it was. Exodus 24:6. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. Okay, so that's a covenant by blood. I think it's 1 Corinthians 14, maybe. Thinking of 1 Corinthians 14. Nah, it's not that. It might be 12. It might be 12. 1 Corinthians. Nope, I can't think of it, but our brothers who went through the Red Sea. I forgot. I can barely get it. Corinthians. I'm thinking Corinthians. I think that's where it's at. It's 1 Corinthians 10. Not 12. 1 Corinthians 10. Avoid Israel's mistakes. 1 Corinthians 10:1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the Red Sea, and were all baptized under Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and did eat the same spiritual meat, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of the spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Hamashiach. But with many of them God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink, and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 320,000. And if you don't know what he's talking about the history of Israel and the mistakes that they made that angered the Lord. And he's bringing up a multiple different times where Israel angered the Lord and got put to death for it. So, knowing this, you don't want to be in that stead because you're going to be destroyed. 1 Corinthians 10:9, neither let us tempt Hamashiach, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. And he's talking about, I believe that's Nadab in the bayou. I think this is talking about Numbers, the 16th chapter. Let me see if it goes there at the cross references. Yep, number 16, 46 through 49. Okay. So just showing you, and they were murmuring, thought they could take the place of the prophets and stuff, man. These are not positions you want to be putting yourself in this times, man. Try to be as humble. I speak for myself, man. You can take it for a grain of salt, but it's better to just be humble, man. It's just, you don't know who is who through the Spirit, and it's better to just try to be humble as much as possible. 1 Corinthians 10:12, wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. There have no temptation taken you but such as is common to man, but God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape that ye may be able to bear it. Okay, so we need to be understanding that, man. He's going to make a way for us to escape these tribulations, man. But we want to avoid these mistakes that our forefathers are, or even some of us made in the past, because we don't know who we are in the reincarnation. Okay, but we have all of this written for our learning, not to tempt the Lord, okay, in accepting the truth. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 14, wherefore, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry, which is, Jesus Christ, wood and stone. Search the scriptures daily. Make sure you know what's going on out here, not just because someone told you the name. Go look it up. Break it down yourself. Go into the Hebrew. Go into the Paleo Hebrew. See if brothers are just making this up. You think people are out here making their body a living sacrifice for no reason? Find out if these things are true. Just like before, especially if you claim to be a believer, go search the scriptures for yourself. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 15, I speak as to wise men, judge ye what I say. The cup of blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of Hamashiach? The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of Hamashiach? Okay, this is the Hamashiach, who the world ignorantly calls Christ, means the Messiah, man. When we have the Passover, when we practice these righteous acts, it's symbolic of being with Yahweh Shai. It's supposed to remind us what he did for us and that he's coming back. It ain't over. It's a reminder and to reflect that the Lord is still coming back. There's no, you can't just be forgetting about the Lord, man. Just giving up on the Lord like he ain't coming back. You're supposed to keep your faith up. Okay, there's so many things that are happening in the world that indicate the time of the end. All these big, huge Navy ships going down to Venezuela. Meanwhile, you got Putin and North Korean president, and now he's talking about sanctions. And let me grab it. Make sure, because I don't want to be lying. Did Trump put sanctions on Colombia today? 5 hours ago. Let's see, I want to actually get into this. Hopefully there's like a video, nothing. I'll read it. The Trump administration imposed sanctions Friday on Colombian President Gustavo Petro, his family, and a member of his government over accusations of involvement in the global drug trade. So here he goes, sharply escalating tensions with the leftist leader of one of the closest U.S. allies in South America. I thought he was just cool with him when he was doing all of these deportations. He was sending people over there unwarranted. He said he wasn't going to accept them, and then He said he would, to appease the duck. And now look at him, man. You can't appease the devil, man. This time is over, man. And the same thing that's going on in Venezuela is going to happen to him next. Boats around, different things. He putting boots on the ground in Venezuela, and the next thing you know, he going to be knocking at your front door. And you thought it was all cool and all of that. Now he wants it all, man. He wants it all. He wants everything, man. He's coming with the sword, man. He's done with you get to represent your, if you ain't on his side, man, you're gonna have to go to war. Okay? He don't want you having no positions of power. Any form of say what you want. You can say what you want when I got my foot on your neck. Okay? Man, you got too much power. And plus he came in America and basically was cussing out the duck. Duck don't take he don't take that lightly, man. Duck's not like people think, you look at Duck and think Esau ain't for it, man. He carnal as hell, man. He wants all the smoke, man. He wants all the smoke. Okay, the Treasury Department leveled the penalties against Petro, his wife Veronica del Socorro whatever her name is, Garcia, his son Nicolas Fernando Petro Burgos, and Colombian Interior Minister Armando Alberto Benedita. Petro has allowed drug cartels to flourish and refused to stop this activity, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in a statement. President Duck is taking strong action to protect our nation and make clear that we will not tolerate the trafficking of drugs into our nation. You full of shit. Full of shit. You probably sniffed coke in the White House. They found a fucking bag of coke with Biden's son, and no one ever figured out, where it came from. The move ramps up a growing clash between the Republican U.S. president and Colombia's first leftist leader, notably over deadly American strikes on alleged drug-carrying boats off South America. So he condemns your strikes. Now he's a drug. Why didn't you deem him a drug lord before you started bombing these things, man? So here comes the smear campaign, and then next thing you know, here comes the military. But we got to get ready for all of this, man, because we're going to get smeared too for teaching the truth. That's around the corner too. Right now, the scriptures, the famine and all that, famine of bread. Not the famine of bread, but a famine, the famine of bread, literally. Okay, but the famine of the word is coming too. For we being many are one bread and one body. For we are all partakers of that one bread. Let me see. We are all partakers of that one bread. Behold, Israel after the flesh, are not they which eat of the sacrifices partakers of the altar? Right, man. Behold, Israel after the flesh, man. That's what you see when they're complaining about EBT benefits and things of this world, man. That's Israel after the flesh. Same things they were complaining about in ancient Egypt, in Numbers the 11th chapter. It's the same thing, running it back over and over, same play. So you can't say you don't know. The people complain. This is where y'all are at right now, the same spirits. Numbers 11:1, and when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, and the Lord heard it. And his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord burnt among them and consumed them that there were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses, and when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again, and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? So that's where y'all at right now. He's showing you judgments. That ain't enough. And then you complained again. Like, what's the Lord supposed to do? Now this time he's not playing. He's gonna just destroy 2/3 of y'all, man. A lot of y'all Israelites are gonna die, man. And this is, y'all are fulfilling Numbers 11 and 4 all over again. Like, this ain't happened multiple times. Who shall give us flesh to eat? That's you complaining about your EBT card. Numbers 11 and 5. We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes. And you complaining about what the Lord sustaining you. Okay? In a time where, hey, if the Lord gives you manna in this time, count yourself blessed, man. You're going to be like, what is this? That's what manna means. What is it? Manna means, what is it? We don't know. The bread from heaven that fed the Israelites for 40 years of wilderness wanderings. So he fed us, man. And he going to feed us again. I'm not saying it's going to be with manna. It could be whatever. Whatsoever, whatever, what. Anything, art. He going to feed us, man. That's why we serving him. You know, the true believers are serving the Lord, man. Should be undeniable if you on whose side you're on in these last days. Should be undeniable. No one should have to second guess what God you serve in these last days. And the Lord's making a clear distinction on who's serving the Lord and who isn't. Because as this time comes, you're seeing people complain. What are they complaining about? You don't believe in your power? That shows you that during this liberty, you didn't take the time to really understand what's written in the book. Numbers 11 in verse 6. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes. And the manna was as coriander seed, and the color thereof as the color of bdellium. Let's look at this word, bdellium. See if I can get a picture. He's saying bdellium is a semi-transparent oleogum resin extracted from Commophora whitei plants. A fragrant resin produced by a number of trees related to myrrh used in perfumes. He's saying that's what the color it gave. Okay, and the people went about and gathered it and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar and baked it in pans and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. So he fed us, man, but y'all were complaining. And this is what 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, is telling us not to do. Okay, so especially in this time, the Lord's hearing it because it's a lack of faith, man. You acting like a heathen when you playing for you're mad that so-called white man's taking back what he stole from you, and you're begging for it. You're not asking the Lord for it. You're not asking him. So why should he feed you, man? This is the things you should be learning about. Okay, 1 Corinthians 10, verse 18. Let me look this up, as a matter of fact. I'm curious to see what this means in the uses the Old Testament example of Israelite sacrifices to explain that participating in an idolatrous feast is a form of fellowship with idols and therefore with demons. That's right. That's you after the flesh, man. The verse argues that just as those who ate the sacrifices were partakers of the altar, a Christian who eats meat sacrificed to an idol is showing a form of participation with that idol. This emphasizes that a believer cannot simultaneously participate in communion with Hamashiach and have fellowship with demons through idol worship. That's right. That's right, man. The major demon that y'all worship today is Mammon. Matthew 6, verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and Mammon. You got to pick a side, man. You really, and this is the time to choose what side you're on. Okay, 1 Corinthians 10, verse 19. What say I then? That the idol is anything, or that which is offered in sacrifice to idols is anything? But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. So, this is a sevenfold scriptures, man. During that time, eating things offered unto idols was, it was hard to understand. It was a sin that, because idolatry is weird, man. Because having the understanding, the idols are nothing, but if you know, what's the scripture? If you know to do good and don't do it, it is sin. Something like that. If you know to do good and, if you know to do good and don't do it, it is sin. James, KJV. James 4:17. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. Let me see, is that a good precept? I don't think that's what I'm trying to say. I think what I'm trying to say is, during that time, eating food offered unto idols was it was a sin because you thought it was a sin. So okay. But if you had the wisdom to know that, these things, as long as it's according to the Levitical law, you can eat these things. Right now, you eat things offered unto idols, but you don't have any clue that what Esau's doing to these animals, but you eating it still to this day. Okay, but most importantly, it's talking about what you believe in. All right? Because the heathen, the Gentiles they sacrifice the devils, man. The things that the Gentiles do, every day you're making a sacrifice. The way you decide to live your life is a sacrifice, whether it be to the Most High through his Son, or whether it be to devils. You making a sacrifice, man, every single day. All right? Whether you know it or not. And this is why you want to give all the praise and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua as much as you can, because, you still kind of got to go out here and do what you got to do. But you want to make sure the Lord is prioritized to the best of your ability, even when you're not, just the way you're walking, man. You want to make sure that the Lord's prioritized, because your body is a living sacrifice. You're the sacrifice now. Okay? Hopefully I'm not making anyone confused. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 21. Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. Just like it says in Matthew 6 and verse 24. You got to choose which side you're on, man. Okay? Even though the scriptures do tell you got to, if use the world but don't abuse it. 1 Corinthians 7, verse 31. Okay. Let me grab it. 1 Corinthians 7:31. And they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. So you can use this world. You don't want to be abusing it. Because that's where you can go off, man. This world will suck you up and spit you out. If you don't have firm found, if you're not standing on Yahweh Shai. 1 Corinthians 7:31 means that the present form of this world is passing away, and believers should therefore live with a temporary mindset, not becoming overly attached to earthly possessions or worldly concerns. Okay, like it says in 2 Esdras 14:14. You gotta put off that weak mindset, man. A lot of, people are weak, man. That's why you want to get built up. 2 Esdras 14:14. Let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. And that's what you start to see, people's weak nature. They're not standing on Yahweh by Hashem Shah. That's why they're complaining about these things. You don't see the apostles and elders complaining about these things. Why? Because they known these things were coming for the longest. They're not going to be surprised. All right? And neither should we. I ain't surprised. I believe the report. Okay? And I ain't been in the truth as long as they have, but I believe the same thing. I believe what they, when they come out with videos, I believe what they're saying. All right? 2 Esdras 14:14 is a command for the prophet Ezra to prepare for his departure to heaven by shedding his worldly burdens and weaknesses. You got to shed off these worldly burdens and weaknesses. We about to go into the kingdom. Okay? This is what Yahweh Shah was talking about when he was on the scene. You go back 2 chapters, Matthew 4. Verse 12, now when Yahweh Shai had heard that John was cast into prison, he departed into Galilee. And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast and the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles, the people which sat in great darkness. So like the people which sat in darkness saw a great light, and to them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light is sprung up. From that time, Yahweh Shah began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And this is the time of repenting, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. He said this thousands of years ago, man. And he's still echoing it today through his prophets. Right, 2 Esdras 14:14, the verse instructs him to put away from you mortal thoughts, cast away from you the burdens of humankind, and divest yourself now of your weak nature, meaning he must prepare for his otherworldly journey by letting go of earthly concerns. Like your EBT card, you should already know that was gonna go. Okay, getting your understanding correct with the Lord, trusting and believing. Majority, I don't believe in the Lord. You believe in Esau. And this is what is being shown. This is a metaphorical instruction to set his mind and soul on the spiritual rather than the temporal before his imminent transition. Okay? So this is the mindset you want to adopt. Okay, 1 Corinthians 10 verse 21, ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he? Of course, the answer is no. All right, let me just get the meaning. Meaning is that engaging in idolatry is like being unfaithful to God, provoking his jealousy, and attempting to divide loyalty between him and other gods. You don't want to do that. Okay? You don't want to do that. Read Jeremiah 6:2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. Why would you want to make him jealous? The verse situated within a passage about idolatry uses the metaphor of a jealous spouse to warn that a Christian or an Israelite who participates in idol worship is defying God, which is Yahweh, okay, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, in the name of his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai. Because Yahweh Shai, now we're espoused to the Lord through Yahweh Shai. And if you ain't accepting him, then you're going to be destroyed. Because technically, we're all just one. You know, we're all going to be one in the kingdom. Okay, the nation of Israel. You're all going to be righteous and holy. Who will not tolerate a rival for worship and demand sole allegiance? The rhetorical question, are we stronger than he, and do we provoke the Lord to jealousy, are a warning that no one is powerful enough to resist God's wrath for such covenant infidelity. All right, 1 Corinthians 10, verse 23, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. Okay, so, you know, the way you move, man, you gotta, you know, especially in this time, man, you know, this is a good precept to really think about the times that we live in. There's things you could do, you know, but, you know, it's really not expedient to you being, you know, getting to the goal, man, which is salvation. You know, if you're thinking about making your house now, man, that's the wrong mindset to be in. This is not. You got to know what time that we're in. When you read Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, there's every time and every season. You got to know what season we're in. This right now we in the season look like about to be into a famine. Okay, you know, the news was talking about inflation. Lady said just last month, milk cost one price, and then a month later, she's paying $2 more for her milk. And this might seem like small increments, but it all adds up. Your gas prices gonna add up. You know, to get your car fixed. His tariffs ain't really like kick in like that. Them shits are gonna be coming out of nowhere. Okay, and you got to think how he was hitting them every single day. New tariffs, new tariffs, new tariffs. So the same shit you were buying before, that shit's going to cost an arm and a leg in the near future. You know? So this is that, making that effort to depart from all these things, not being caught up in the world. Okay, 1 Corinthians 10, verse 24. Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. See what that means. 1 Corinthians 10 and 24 is a verse that advises against seeking personal advantage and encourages individuals to prioritize the well-being of others. It is a call to action for believers to act with the common good of the community in mind, reflecting a sacrificial, Christ-like love. This principle is part of a broader message in the passage about how actions affect other people. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 25, whatsoever is sold in the shambles that eat, asking no question for conscience sake. Now he's going into eating things sacrificed to idols. Okay, but you Christians might use this as a way that you can eat pork, man, because it says whatsoever is sold in the shambles. Okay, but you should already know that it ain't talking about every single thing. Okay, if there's a baby in the shambles, ask no questions for conscience sake, just eat it. No. So you got to use discernment. Okay, scriptures talk about how Paul's writings are they're hard to understand, but for the elect, this should be easy. You should know not to eat certain things, man. I'm just making a drawn out example, man. You see a dead body in the store, you gonna buy that meat because it's sold in the no. Why? For conscience sake. You know, you understand that ain't right to eat. So why would he contradict himself with Leviticus, the 11th chapter? Okay. So if you believe that's a doctrine of a devil, and Esau will push that doctrine on you and tell you it's okay. He'll give you a license to sin. He's the man of sin. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 26, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. If any of them that believe not bid you to a feast, and ye be disposed to go, whatsoever is set before you, eat, asking no question for conscience sake. You know, nowadays we go there, we just eat. We don't even ask these questions, but it was a problem before. But if any man say unto you, this is offered in sacrifice unto idols, eat not for his sake that showed it, and for conscience sake, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. You know, so you don't want to feel condemned, just like it tells you in Ecclesiasticus, the 14th chapter, not to be pricked with the multitude of your sins. You want to be fully persuaded in your own mind that you know what to do, man, and that you're not stumbling over these scriptures. It might not seem like it means a lot to constantly go over the same scriptures all the time, but this is going to be your stability. A lot of people don't know these precepts. They don't look into them. They're not asking any questions. You know, I mean, you know, not everyone's going to answer all your questions, but, you know, you got to exhaust every avenue while you got the chance, you know, to make sure you got a full understanding, that you're persuaded in your own mind and you're not just regurgitating what you learned from somebody else's video. You know, you got to look these things up for yourself. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 29, conscience, I say, not thine own, but of the other. For why is my liberty judged for another man's conscience? For if I by grace be a partaker, why am I evil spoken of for that for which I give thanks? Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. Okay, so when you're the way you move, man, everything needs to be glorifying the Lord. Okay, now he's using this in the form of eating things offered unto idols. Okay, but you want to be moving in a way that gives glory to the Lord, and so when other people see it, they want to give glory to the Lord too. Okay, you're supposed to be an example of following a Mashiach Yahushua. Okay, and he should be shining through you and provoking others to move in that same direction, which is the right direction to go. Give none offense, neither to the Jews, nor to the Gentiles, nor to the church of God, even as I please all men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but the profit of many, that they may be saved. Okay, so the way that you act, okay, and using these examples, man, to avoid them. Okay, let me look at this Trump administration warship.
Here's what nobody's telling you. From 340 GSM.
We begin here at 5:30 with news making headlines around the world. The U.S. is sending an aircraft carrier to the water near Latin America as the military ramps up its presence in the region. It comes hours after the 10th strike on a boat suspected of carrying drugs. 17's Washington correspondent Kristen Eskow reports on what the Pentagon is saying tonight.
The Pentagon says the presence of this aircraft carrier will help the U.S. military detect and disrupt any activity deemed unsafe to Americans, including drug trafficking. But the Trump administration is facing some questions about its actions in the region. The Pentagon says this aircraft carrier is on its way to the waters off South America. The Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group will soon be part of the U.S. offensive against alleged drug trafficking operations. Secretary Pete Hegseth announced another strike Friday, the third this week.
Every boat we strike is 25,000 Americans whose lives are saved because of the drugs that were headed in our direction.
So far, there have been 10 strikes on boats since...
Look at how stupid he sounds, because most of the things you dying from sugar. You got high fructose corn syrup in all of your drinks, sodas, things that's being put in your food. Where's the war on that? That's been in this country, been putting y'all to death, man. So this is why I don't trust him at all. Okay, so everything he's saying, just know I don't believe it, okay? He might get everybody else with this bullshit. I wouldn't be surprised if he's just indiscriminately just putting people to death out there. And these are probably old videos. It's all propaganda, okay? That's how I look at it, because I understand that he's the devil. Esau is. And he don't do things righteously. I'm doing this in a righteous manner. That's not what the wicked do. Don't get the devil the benefit of the doubt. John 10:10, thief cometh not but for to steal, kill, and destroy. And to destroy, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. But that's what the thief comes to do. Steal, kill, and destroy. And that's all he can do.
Early September, killing it.
I don't really care about that. That's going to escalate. We know wars are going to escalate. You know, we shouldn't be dismayed at these things. But what else is there?
The state expects more than 1 million people to lose SNAP benefits next month as the government shutdown continues. 22 News reporter Victoria Buddy joins us live in studio with the reaction from those who rely on the assistance and what the governor is doing to help those most at risk.
Ciara, until the government reopens, President Trump has decided to stop the following month of SNAP benefits. That means a week from now, millions of people nationwide will be affected, including many here in the Bay State.
Governor Maura Healey is calling on the Trump administration to continue SNAP benefits. This as the administration has decided not to issue them in November until the government, 1 million people statewide, could be impacted.
That is a shame that the government will be doing it to its own people. They are building $200 million ballroom. They are bulldozing the White House. They are giving $40 billion to Argentina, our farmers. They are taking away the food from children.
Smart lady, man, she's watching, man. She's definitely watching. She's current on today's events, man. But a lot of y'all don't know what's going on, man. Never mind in the current events, what's going on in the Bible, man. That's the most important thing. This is where all the knowledge is at, man. What you need. Okay, so you can have your full armor on. So when these things come, if the Lord is revealing these things to you, you're going to feel like the Lord's dealing with you. And that's a gift from the Lord, man. Showing you these things, having you being occupied in prophecy, and nothing better than that. So when these things come to pass, man, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Agriculture stating,
well, you got things to worry about, but you're not going to be like everybody else, man. They're going to be moving. They're going to lose it day one when it's probably November 1st. I can imagine what's going to happen on that day. You know, especially when you're about to celebrate Thanksgiving. Y'all are, it's going to fuck with your mindset, man. You know, y'all want to celebrate Christmas. The Lord's tired of all that. He said he despises your feast days. Okay, this is him. He's about to destroy your feast day, man. I despise your feast days. No. I despise. I think it's Amos the 5th chapter. Right? Let's see. Amos 5. Yeah, let's go there real quick. You know, he's doing it right in November. So how you gonna see? So now when you go celebrate Thanksgiving, this especially this year, without your SNAP benefits and shit, you have to make a real strong effort, and that's gonna fuck you over when December comes. You're gonna get fucked over this month when you try to go next week, Halloween, in 6 days. Okay, then he gonna screw you over for November, then December, and then come New Year's, you gonna be broke. What you gonna? I want to see if you celebrate the New Year's, bring in the New Year's like the heathen do. That might even get shut down. He might shut it all down. He might just go straight into martial law after that, and you're gonna spend all your last money, all your last dollars. Silly. Amos 5 verse 21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the piece of your fat beasts. So man, ain't gonna be no celebrating Amos 5:21-24 teaches that God despises hypocritical worship, where religious rituals are performed without any accompanying justice and righteousness. God has states that their feast offerings and songs are meaningless and even offensive to him because they are a facade for a society filled with injustice, oppression, and a disregard for the poor and needy. The passage contrasts this hollow worship with the true devotion of God desires, for justice to roll down like waters and righteousness to flow like an ever-flowing stream. Yep. And he about to bring it all to pass.
Be talking to each other. President Trump leaves tonight for a summit in Asia. David.
And as you point out, these American workers fully aware Congress is still getting paid. Elizabeth, thank you. Tonight we're keeping a close watch on Tropical Storm Melissa gaining strength in the Atlantic, set to become a hurricane by tomorrow and a major Category 4 hurricane by Sunday night. Jamaica bracing for flooding, mudslides, power outages. The storm already deadly tonight. Heavy rain and flooding in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And tonight the new models are in here, the potential path from there. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from WABC with us again tonight. Hi.
Look at that. Melissa about to fuck some shit up, man. Anti-ICE protests grow more violent. This place is through, man. All of this is going to increase. They're shooting at minivans and shit.
Base, federal agents opening fire during a protest, a U-Haul truck backing up into the gate in Alameda, California. Here's Kana Whitworth with the pictures tonight.
This is the Coast Guard.
This is the moment federal agents open fire on a U-Haul backing up toward them before speeding away from this Coast Guard base near San Francisco.
Is anyone injured? Is anybody hit?
The Coast Guard says officers opened fire after the driver ignored verbal commands to stop. That driver wounded, according to Homeland Security, who says a protester was also struck by a fragment. That shooting coming after a day of clashes. Protesters tried to block Border Patrol vehicles arriving at the base as agents used flashbangs to disperse the crowd.
Back it up right now!
DHS says protesters attacked and were given a warning to clear the street, but refused to move. A pastor seen here standing with a sign when an agent fires a flashbang from just a few feet away. A minister, helped by others at the scene.
I obviously was shocked with whatever that Border Patrol had directly to my face. In that case, they're saying we're here in peace, and he didn't care.
Yesterday, President Trump called off a planned surge of agents to San Francisco.
Told your ass to move. A pastor, he don't even know what's written in the scriptures, man. You're not supposed to be. This is why you gotta watch who you're listening to, man. These a lot of false prophets, pastors. Man, they're gonna get a lot of people put to death. If his dumb ass is going out there and getting shot, clearly he don't have any wisdom. Scriptures tell you to stay far from the men that have power to kill. He holding a sign like a fool.
Cisco, at least for now. But this week, clashes escalating in cities like New York and Chicago, where Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino was seen allegedly hurling a tear gas canister. A judge ordering him to appear in court over the use of force. Today, the Department of Homeland Security defending his actions, saying the chief had been hit in the head by protesters launching commercial fireworks. And David, while authorities tell us the incident at the California Coast Guard base is isolated,
This shit's just getting wild, man.
It will not cave into its $6 billion contingency fund to cover food stamps. They say there's not enough money to pay full benefits as the shutdown continues.
I don't think it's great. A lot of people really rely on those benefits, so hopefully the government can work something out soon.
According to Governor Healy, the state receives about $240 million monthly in SNAP.
This is Massachusetts. Massachusetts is once this place gets done, man, you're all through, man. Because, this is where the spirit of America lies at, man. This shit's going to be through. The spirit about to be done. Maura Healey was on the news this morning talking about donate to your local pantry and shit like that, man. They want you to donate now.
SNAP benefits, 32% of those.
Because clearly a lot of people are gonna be hungry, man. Especially the poor, those people who are already homeless. They're gonna be affected the most. Majority of y'all got jobs, you got a house, but there's people living on the street, man. In these pantries, they ain't gonna be able to eat. You know, and who's gonna care for them? You know, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start. You know, they once their cars don't work, they're gonna start robbing too. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised you come out with a whole cart full of groceries and your ass get attacked.
On track to be impacted are children. Congress will start imposing penalties if states don't deny SNAP to residents. The Massachusetts Department of Transitional Assistance has already started notifying residents via text that they won't be receiving checks come November.
I'm on a Social Security check, yes. So as long as my Social Security check is coming, I will be fine. But I am worrying about those who don't have even that kind of means to go buy their groceries. So no, this is bad.
Governor Healy says people looking to help can.
Social Security gonna be another thing. You know, that's gonna be another issue.
Donate to their local United Way or the United Response Fund.
Local food banks are preparing for an influx in those who need assistance when people are not issued SNAP benefits next month. Working for you, Victoria Buddy, 22 News.
My fault. Yeah, so he probably gonna tell you to take the MOTB and then you can get a 100,000 credits or 6,000, whatever he gives you, and y'all gonna sign up for it because you're already begging over cucumbers and dumb shit, just like you were in Numbers the 11th chapter. But I'm gonna end it right here. Lord's will, this was edifying. Shalom.